Okay, good morning, everybody, and I want to thank my colleagues who are standing with me today. We're here at a sad moment. We're asking the Solicitor General to appoint a special counsel to investigate potential perjury by the Attorney General. Earlier this week, Attorney General Gonzales testified before the Judiciary Committee, and his inability to answer simple and straightforward questions was just stunning. The Attorney General took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Instead, he tells the half-truth, the partial truth, and everything but the truth. And he does it not once and not twice, but over and over and over again. His instinct is not to tell the truth, but to dissemble and deceive. Not only that, but this week he contradicted his prior statements, he contradicted the sworn testimony of Jim Comey, and he contradicted a letter written by former Director of National Intelligence John Negroponte. I asked him back in February 2006 at a judiciary hearing whether there was any dissent over the Terrorist Surveillance Program, TSP. He swore that there was not. Then in May of this year, I asked Jim Comey about dissent about classified programs, and he told a story that shocked the country. Virtually the entire leadership of the department was prepared to resign in March 2004, and the Attorney General swore to us that there was no dissent. We then pressed the Attorney General on Tuesday about the apparent contradiction. He testified under oath that the internal dissent at the Department of Justice was not about the TSP, and suggested that the purpose of the emergency meeting with the so-called Gang of Eight on March 10, 2004 was not about the TSP. Both of those statements appear to be false. We know now that the emergency meeting was about the TSP. We know from senators who were there, and we know from a letter from John Negroponte. It's in black and white. And these are just the latest in a series of troubling misstatements by our chief law enforcement officer. He testified that he hadn't talked to witnesses about the U.S. Attorney investigation, but Ms. Goodling testified that she had a conversation with the Attorney General that made her uncomfortable. He also testified in 2005 that there were no abuses of the Patriot Act. We have now learned that when he made those statements, the Attorney General knew about a number of failures to protect rights under the Patriot Act. Enough is truly enough. Not for us, not even for the Senate, but for the 90,000 employees of the Justice Department and for 300 million Americans who need, at the very minimum, an Attorney General who can tell the truth. For months, we have seen the Department of Justice unravel like a ball of yarn, and what we have seen has been terribly disturbing. I have not seen anything like it from a witness in the 27 years that I have been in Congress. This Department of Justice is one that puts emphasis on political loyalty rather than upholding the rule of law. This department is one that fires, by all accounts, some of its most talented employees and then is unable to give an explanation as to why. And at the helm of this Department of Justice is a man who has potentially misled Congress and the American people time and time again. We simply cannot stand for this any longer. The Attorney General is meant to be the chief law enforcement officer of the land. He must be a person of truth and candor and integrity. The record, which grows day by day, is making it clear that the Attorney General is not such a person. Now, obviously, the Attorney General cannot investigate himself. That's why the four of us have signed a letter to Paul Clement, the Solicitor General, and also acting Attorney General in matters where Gonzales has recused himself. We ask that he appoint a special counsel, someone of unimpeachable integrity, ability, and experience to investigate the Attorney General. We ask that that person come from outside the Justice Department, so there will be no conflicts of interest, real or apparent. We have also talked to Senator Leahy, who is, in his usual careful and considerate way, giving the Attorney General some extra time for his statements, but he believes our process and what he is doing with giving the Attorney General a week and then talking to the Inspector General, the two are dovetailing with one another and are supportive of one another. We also have the support of Leader Reid in what we are asking for. We had all hoped that it wouldn't come to this, but we simply cannot let this abuse of power continue unchecked.